Welcome to Cinema Bytes on CCP TV, the Emmy-nominated educational channel of Community College of Philadelphia. I'm your host, Dr. Amy Lewis. I'm an assistant professor of English who teaches film studies here at the college. Cinema Bytes reviews issues and topics within classic and contemporary films. But in today's episode, we're going to break from our film review format and interview one of the Philadelphia area's hottest and upcoming filmmakers, Aniya Wolfe. Aniya is a professional actress, photographer, director, and cinematographer known for Skin in 2016, First Moon Party in 2014, and Beauty also in 2016. She has already won numerous awards and had her films selected to compete in the Rough Cut and Black Star film festivals. She has also been featured in various local news stories, including ones by Fox 29, CBS 3, and the Northeast Times, and has been interviewed on popular radio stations such as 100.3 WRNB. She's currently working on making her short film, Skin, into a feature-length film called Beyond My Skin. As if that weren't enough, Aniya is also the founder of her own company, Beauty Scene Productions, and she was recently a featured speaker at the Community College of Philadelphia's Cuff Film Festival, which is how I came to know her. Oh, and she's only 14. Aniya, thank you so much for joining us today. You are such a talented young woman, and you really brought the house down at Cuff last week, so we had to have you here. Now, I know our audience is going to have a lot of questions for you right now, so I'm going to try to do my best to ask as many of them as I can anticipate. And in the end, I'll also ask you to give information to our viewers so they can research you further if they'd like to know more about you. Okay. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready. That was such a good intro.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I try my best. Well, I guess the first question I would have for you is, how did you actually get started in films?
Well, it all started when I was around 8. I knew I had like this goal to become a performer, and it started off by singing because I was into like Hannah Montana and like teenage pop stars. So from there I started practicing singing, but one day I was told that I had like an actor's personality, and I was like, whatever that meant, but I'll try acting because I was just really trying to try everything and like the performing aspect. So I started acting, and then one day on set, and I started doing it for like 2 years, and then one day on set, it was like a student short film, and it was really different for me, and it stuck out because every other set that I've done, everyone behind the scenes were like all older people, and they didn't seem like they were having fun. So it was like the set was more fun than being behind the set, you know. So then when I was on the student short film, everyone was all young. They were like 18 to like 23, and they were enjoying themselves, and I got interested. I was like all over the place. I was still trying to find out what I want to do, and that basically got me into film. After I saw young people like motivated and inspired to do what they love, like, and it seemed fun, I got into it myself. And, that's where it all started.
I wonder, those young people probably have no idea that they inspired such a big thing with just their actions that day, huh?
Yeah, they. I remember going up to, it wasn't the director, because I was too scared to talk to the director. It was like a production assistant, and I asked him, well, he actually offered because he saw how interested I was, and he pulled me behind the camera, and I got to see like the screen, the monitor, and all the little controls, and I was like sitting there like it was candy, like, you know. So.
Oh, that's so great.
It was cool.
It was great of him to get you kind of, to get you started, getting you going.
Yeah.
And I guess my second question is, how do you come up with the ideas for your films then? Because you're pretty prolific in the short time that you've been doing this.
Yeah. Usually when I have to come up with new ideas, I use music to kind of space out. And sometimes when you just keep on looking at a screen, you have to go somewhere, you know, like either take a walk. I don't take walks, but sometimes I have to like go out and have a nice time with my friends. And I get inspired by the smallest things, like a statue I might see, or the way a lady acts on a bus. Like everyone I see is just so interesting and like so cool, and I want to find out more. So I get inspired by really small things.
Great. So we see little maybe snippets of your life throughout your films?
Oh, for sure. And the characters I developed, I feel like each one of my characters have a piece of my own personality. I'm only 14, so I haven't met every kind of person in the world, but I've met a lot. And I just kind of take from everyone and myself and create something new, if that
That's great.
Yeah.
I think we all have an inner 14-year-old in us anyway, so you're
Sure.
probably, your characters probably speak to more than just people your age, because I think a lot of us can relate back to that time period in some way.
Yeah, for sure. Teachers, I take from everywhere. So even my dog sometimes.
Really?
My dog. So.
What has he done to inspire you?
Her name is Nala.
Sorry.
Yeah, she's a blonde and she's a little sassy. So
right.
it's like I like to take that and put that into a character.
That seems like a film character just waiting to be written then.
She's hilarious. It's gold.
Great. So, now you're taking these little things from your life, and what's the next step then? You kind of observe these things, you decide that's something I want to put in my film. How do you then make that come alive on screen?
Well, I don't consider myself a writer. I'm so visual. And I usually, the first step that I do, I start from a scene that I know I want to be in the movie from short. I think the term is linear writing. And like I'm considered like non-linear writer.
Okay.
Because like I don't start from the beginning to end. I start from end to middle or middle to like beginning. So I start from a scene that I know I want to be in there, and then I'll build off from that scene, like what I want to happen afterwards, what I want to happen before. So that's usually next step, just writing something I want to see.
Great. Oh, wow. So that it seems to be working for you. And so you will kind of envision a scene and then build the film around that?
Right. My scripts, I'll probably post my Beyond My Skin script after it's finished, but it's not in the right format. Like I know, and my actors, sometimes it get frustrating for them because they're used to reading it in a certain way. Like after I casted all of my actors, I did something a little unprofessional. It sent out like 2 revisions that I wanted them to learn. So I don't take the usual route. For sure. Don't follow the rules.
That's good. Do any of your actors like that, though? Because I would imagine, while that can be frustrating, because some of us really like to know what's coming, I think a lot of people, too, might kind of like the fact that there is a living sort of script that's always movable and malleable. Do any of your actors like that?
Yeah, they're really open-minded and like down for anything, because every day I learn something new and I experience something new. And because my film, Beyond My Skin, I haven't gone through a lot of the issues in that film, so I don't know how it always feels. So when I experience something new, I'm like, oh, that's probably how it feels. And I'll like add it into the script.
Okay.
They don't seem like, they're not like, ugh, I don't want to do it anymore. Or they don't roll their eyes, but so they're pretty down for it, and they know that I'm really creative, and you can't really expect, like, I don't expect anything from me. Like, I pop out with different ideas, so I think they got used to me.
That's good. Well, it's important to have flexible actors.
Yeah.
Do you ever let them drive the script in that, maybe if you have somebody who's very good with improv or something, do you ever let them kind of shape the script and you work around them?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah?
Definitely, for sure. Because I don't know everything. Like, I'm only, as I said, I'm 14. I haven't experienced a lot. And a lot of my actors are older than me. And some of them have been on different sets and experienced some of the issues. So I'm always down to listen and, like, collaborate. Like, if I could, I'd probably give every actor, like, assistant director credit. Because we always collaborate. And it's awesome to have a teamwork,
And see, to everybody at home who thinks that teenagers think they know everything all the time, Aniya is proof that there are teenagers out there that are willing to listen to everybody.
Sometimes we just have a big ego, I think that's natural. Teens have egos. We don't want to give up. So.
Well, you seem to keep yours in check very well, I have to say. So with your age kind of coming up, what is the greatest challenge of being 14 and being in charge of something as big as a film set with all those actors and everything?
Well, I'd say the biggest problem with being 14 and having a film, like doing film production, is probably the distribution part, the afterwards. Because it's film festivals that are like, there's not a lot of youth film festivals. And when there are, they're great, but I also want to show my films to older people too.
Yeah.
And then there's contracts you can't sign unless you're 18. And it's like, it's kind of holding me back. Like, I want to flourish and be successful, but the rules are like keeping me centered and not like far apart basically, and I can't do everything I want to. But as far as on set, I mean, my age when I first started, I had like a lot of excuses, like people aren't going to want to listen to me because I'm only 14. But now my focus has changed, and I don't really find a lot of issues on being 14. Like, it's not what I'm focused on, you know. Focused on making the film to change other people's lives, and nothing's going to stop me, really. So it's not a lot of issues, if you understand.
So none of your actors that are older than you ever try to kind of pull rank or second guess you because of your age?
Well, I think in the beginning it was all in my mind. Like, I expected that, so that's what I saw. But now, like, when I realized that it's not like that. Some people just have personalities where whoever they talk to, they're going to be like that. But everyone's really so open-minded, and they like look at it from a different perspective, I guess, since I'm only 14. So they're willing to actually listen more and see what I'm all about.
That's great.
Yeah. So.
And, you know, while we're talking about your actors, I found myself just wondering right now, where do you find your actors? How do you get a hold of these people?
Well, it's all a matter of networking. In the beginning, it was all friends because, as I said, I started acting first. So I had a lot of friends in the acting industry, and then when I started doing my films, I could just pull out actor friends that I already had.
Yeah.
Now I started, my lead actor, he's actually from New York. It was a website called Actors Access that I use. And he comes out, and he's awesome. You have the opportunity to email them, do video auditions, get to know them more before you bring them on your set.
Wow.
So, yeah, and just know people who know people who know people.
That's great.
That's the business.
And that sounds very high tech, but I imagine that's particularly helpful for you as a 14-year-old because it's not as easy for you to just pop up to New York or do a lot of things. So does technology kind of help you overcome some of those possible limitations of age?
Technology is amazing, and it sure has. I can't even... Now it's like just text messaging, like emails are cool. My mom and I handle them together because I can't, you know, emails aren't, I'm not in the right age, I feel like, for that. But technology it makes everything convenient.
That's great.
For sure.
That's wonderful.
Like we can put stuff that are in our imagination on a screen. Like, technology is so cool.
Yeah, I imagine it cuts down the journey from your head to the screen then by having that technology to kind of aid the process.
But sometimes you need to take a break. And, for sure.
From technology, you mean?
From technology, yeah. You have to remember, like, what's real and what's not, you know. Sometimes it can be toxic.
What do you do when you need to take a break?
When I need to take a break, music so far. I'm still trying to find out a better, like, more interactive escape because I realized, I remember talking to someone and he asked me what I like to do outside of filmmaking. And I was like, whoa, like, I'm a loser. Like, I don't do anything outside of filmmaking, so except listen to music. I told him, like, well, I listen to music, but I guess he was looking for something more like a hobby. So I'm still searching for that, for sure. I want to get into snowboarding. Which is really different.
That seems like a great escape. Now, something I think is really interesting about you and speaks volumes about your commitment to this is the fact that you were going to go to high school at Kappa, which is a very prestigious performing arts and creative high school here. But what happened?
Well, I feel like I looked more into their school, and I may be wrong, but based off other people, like the students that go there and my research, you actually don't start like hands-on filmmaking until 11th and 12th grade. And in 7th grade summer, that was like the time where I had to start deciding what high school I wanted to go to. And during that summer, I started making my first film without, you know, graphic design or whatever they teach in 9th and 10th grade. And I felt like I learned so much by just going out there and not waiting. And I felt like going to high school, like, okay, today's a school day. I wouldn't be able to have this interview if I was at Kappa. And I feel like I grew so much more than ever than just waiting, basically, for 11th and 12th grade.
From that practical application.
And I definitely had to make some sacrifices, not being around my friends a lot, not being able to, like, go to parties and whatever kids do my age. But I know it'll be worth it. I know for sure.
No, I mean, that was one of the things that impressed me most about you was just seeing that you were all in when you decided to become a filmmaker and that was really a singular vision. And I think it's great that you've pursued it so wholeheartedly.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. You know, so because sometimes I think like it can get a little unmotivating, you know, because it's like you see all your other friends going out to parties and having fun, and you're sitting here on a screen like writing stuff, and it's like, is this worth it? But I know that like in 5 years from now, like when I graduate, I could do all that stuff 10 times better.
Of course,
so
you'll be going to Oscar parties by then. So
yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait.
So now, what advice then would you have for younger filmmakers and also filmmakers in general?
Well, you know, I haven't done this. If I'm not wrong, I think this coming summer will only be like 2 years since I started filmmaking. So I'm definitely not perfect, and I'm learning something every shoot. And I think all filmmakers learn something new every shoot. But for young filmmakers, like, don't wait. Like, the best thing I've done was not waiting and just going. Another thing I've done, which I talked about the cuff speech that I had, take risk. Stepping out of my comfort zone was the best thing that I've done. Skin was about 3 teenagers, and they're all going through common issues among youth. One is transgender, the other is going through substance abuse issues, and then the other is being molested at home. And it's a little uncomfortable, you know, to film, especially when all your actors are a little older than you, and it can get awkward. But I remembered why I was doing it, which is to inspire kids to keep doing what they're doing, even if those are happening at home. Like, you know, stay motivated to do what you love. And I just kept on remembering that's the reason why. And I did it. So step out of your comfort zone for sure. Another tip, let's see, stay positive. Staying positive on set is probably something I learned later in the process, because if you're a director, basically you have the greatest power, and it's up to you to make all the last minute decisions and stuff like that. And it can get stressful, but if you just stay positive, remember the goal, then everything will go so much more smoother. That's what I learned. Just smiling, just force it sometimes. You know, even after like this, it works. You know,
eventually you'll believe it, right?
Being negative makes things worse. Trust me.
Oh, absolutely.
Because once you change your focus on all the negative things that's happened, that's all you're going to see, and you're going to realize that things start falling apart. So
and even thinking back to your initial story of how you got into film, the positivity from the one film set is what inspired you. So it is a trickle down sort of thing, you know. So your positivity will be infectious to the people on set, and you want positive people on set, I'm sure.
Have food on your set. That's another tip. Food will keep people happy, okay?
That's true. It always makes me happy.
Food.
Great.
It's great.
Well, you started to touch on Skin, and you mentioned some of the big themes that are in it, and you know, some really heavy stuff in there. What is if you could tell me a little bit more about Skin, and also what the inspiration was for you to make it in the first place?
Well, the lead in Skin, all right, so I'll start from the short film. So the short film, the lead is gender nonconforming, and basically he's being like tortured at school because of it. And he has 2 friends, Bryn and Olive. And Bryn, basically, she's being molested at home by her stepfather, and she drinks uses prescription pills. She does drink, but we don't show that in Skin. And she uses that as an escape. And then the other friend, she's doing stuff she shouldn't be on social media. And I feel like a lot of kids in my age range can relate to that. And she's basically acting out because her mom is very overprotective. And basically they're all best friends. And we go through their journey and all the decisions that they make, and it's not always for the better, their decisions. Like the outcome isn't like positive, because real life isn't always like that. But then we went to Beyond My Skin. After Skin was released and I stepped out of my comfort zone, people loved it. And we were able to raise $9,000 to extend that into a feature. So that's what we're working on now.
Yes.
The inspiration would probably be, because my peers, I hate to see my peers suffer. I hate to see people suffer. And I believe that if I bring awareness to that, like people know that, well, first of all, if kids know that they're not alone, and then adults, like, they recognize it more, that we can prevent things. We could prevent these situations. So
that's great. Yes.
That was inspiration.
So you got a film with a
Getting it out there.
message.
Yeah, I believe every film should have a message, for sure. Don't waste
great.
people's time. Make them leave with something. So
That's fantastic. Now, you mentioned the Kickstarter campaign because you started out with Skin, and Skin was very well received, and you were in film festivals and winning awards and everything. And this inspired you to now go to Beyond My Skin, yes?
Right.
Because you're turning Skin into a feature length,
yes.
which is fantastic.
Thank you.
And you mentioned the Kickstarter campaign, which raised the $9,000 you needed like so quickly. I'm blown away. So
Me
all
too,
of this
honestly.
is great. Well, then
Yeah,
it is all credit to you.
Thank you.
And I know that you brought a clip with you today from Beyond My Skin, right?
Yes.
Which is in a film in progress. So the audience at home, you are getting to see a sneak peek at an upcoming production. And we're going to watch your clip really quickly,
Okay.
and then we're going to talk a little bit about it. But let's watch the clip and see what we have here.
Okay.
So Pam has 7 apples. Calculate the radius of the sun.
Wait, did you make those?
Yeah, you told me to.
Yeah, but they're ugly.
What were the first steps that we would take to solve this problem? Zachary.
I don't know.
Retard.
Kevin. Out.
But Mr. Bird,
Now.
not even cool, bro.
Second time this week. I am more than disappointed.
You need some company? Where's Mason?
Oh, he took the day off. Hey, you think you could help me with something at Viviana's party?
Anything for you.
Great. So that was really great clip. And
Thank
what
you.
I want to know is, you said this is your favorite scene when I, asked you for a clip. And
Right.
what about it makes it your favorite scene? I know right now it's possibly one of few scenes that you have
Yeah,
recorded,
very.
but what else? What do you like about it?
That scene is about the only scene that I've edited for Beyond My Skin so far because of school and stuff, just events. But what I really like about that scene is basically it really shows where I've came from, like from Selfie Wars, which was my first short film, to now. And I felt like the color grading looked great. I was really like, I love that scene just because of the colors. And I'm going to experiment more with the colors. Like that was the first kind of rough draft, but the cuts were cleaner. I just I know the whole feature film is going to be that way, but to kind of sit down and just see where I've came from, I fell in love with it. So it's basically my favorite because it's the first one.
Yeah.
First one done.
And I have to say, it's great. I mean, it looks very professional. And you talked
Yeah.
about the color grading. How did you get it to look like that? Because
Right.
when it comes to the technical side of film, I am not as knowledgeable as I am about just sort of the critique element. But
Right.
even I was able to really pick up on how rich the colors were in that particular scene. So how did you accomplish that?
Well, Adobe Premiere Pro is the editing software that I use, but I really want to get into After Effects, and which is another kind of editing software. But basically, I just tweaked around with the color wheels, the RGB lines. When you're actually on set, you have lights, the 3-point lighting system I tried to use, and that's basically it. I'm always attracted to darker films.
Yeah.
So you could kind of see that in the scene somewhat. I want to tweak it more.
Yeah.
But yeah, and drained out color. So.
Yeah, it matched the tone, certainly, of the piece very much. I noticed that when I was watching it, which is really impressive. And I love how you make it sound so easy.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
That's impressive. Now, the other thing I wanted to know is what's next then for you and Skin, or now at this point, Beyond My Skin? Where do we go from here?
Well, there's so many. Every day I have a different idea of what I want to film, what I want to do. as of now, I'm really set on doing a music video before my 15th birthday.
Really?
Which is a bit of a stretch because my 15th birthday is on December 10th, which is like 18 days from now.
Oh my goodness.
So I want to make a music video. I have a trailer. That's the next thing. Trailer coming out New Year's Day for Beyond My Skin.
Oh, really?
That's the next big thing.
Oh, look, we get the hot gossip ahead of time.
Yeah.
So now a music video, how are you going to make that happen? Do you have a band and a song in mind, or?
Well, I have a song in mind. Basically, with every film that I've done, there's like an artist or album that I used when writing.
Uh-huh.
So, and it kind of, I like that because it kind of shows where I was when I was writing and then where I am now. See, the feature film process was long, so when writing, I was listening to one artist, and like now, at the end of production, I'm listening to something totally different.
Okay.
And I wanted to do a music video with a song that I did during writing, kind of maybe remix it or like mix it up with what I am now.
Yeah.
If you get, like, or in the beginning, you know, I'll figure out a way. And basically I was thinking about having like one of my actors that I like, because I like her look and I like her personality, and kind of just, I don't know, we'll make it work. Her kind of maybe dance, she's a dancer, so her dancing to the song, or her like in the water, I don't know, messing with the leaves. Like, I just want to show like my growth kind of in that music video.
Yeah, and this I think
mentally and
ties back
emotionally.
to your whole living sort of project, you know, where you're going with inspiration as you go
Right.
along, rather than having that linear plan that you had spoken about earlier.
Yeah, I actually, some people find it weird. I don't storyboard before shoots, and if you don't know what storyboarding is, that's basically when you draw out your scene, like what kind of angles and what you want to see on the screen before you film it. I don't storyboard. I just kind of go on the set and I go from there. Let like my gut instinct kind of lead me. So I don't plan before.
Right. Well,
My
you seem to
parents
have
don't
very
like
good
that.
gut instincts, so I would keep going with that. It's working for you.
Yeah, my parents don't like that.
No.
Like, I depend on my gut, but it's fun. I
We
don't
keep
know.
life interesting. That's fine. So if people want to learn more about you and your projects, where can they go to find out information?
Well, you can go to my website at beautysceneproductions.com. It's beauty, and then it's SCENE, like
Okay.
in acting wise, Beauty Scene Productions. But we post a lot on our Facebook, which is Beauty Scene Productions on Facebook. And then you can follow my personal life at Aniya Wolfe, which is ANIYA, and then WOLFE. And don't forget the E. But you can find everything on our Facebook page, like links to everything.
Excellent. And I imagine your Facebook page is a happening place at all times. Well, Aniya, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been such a pleasure talking to you, and we wish you the best in what I am sure is going to be an incredibly bright future.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of the journey and giving me the opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm so excited to be here on the ground floor. Well, I guess you're probably a couple floors up from the ground floor at this point. Well, that's all the time we have for today. You've been watching Cinema Bytes on CCP TV, the Emmy-nominated educational channel of Community College of Philadelphia. Thank you for joining us, and keep an eye out for the next big film debate. See you next time.